another edition of Bet. She is Erin Dolan in Bristol, Connecticut. I am Anita Marks in Dirty Jersey, which means I'm heading to the game tonight. Monday Night Football, baby. You got the G-Men going up against the Cowboys. Erin, you going to be watching?
Unfortunately, I will be watching. As for those who don't know, maybe just tuning in, I'm an Eagles fan, so this is not fun for me at all. I could care less about either of these two teams and how they do tonight.
You just want them to beat each other up, is probably.
I want the Cowboys to lose, but I actually think they might end up winning, so there's a lot of mixed feelings going on.
Interesting. Okay, we're gonna have all our picks for you, all our plays, our prop bets, who's gonna score touchdowns, who's not. But we're gonna kick off the show with reaction or no action, and we're going to the diamond. Aaron Judge will have over 1.5 total hits tonight, and you could get this at plus 179. Aaron, is there a play here for you?
I'm going to have to say reaction. Aaron Judge just looked really good. Unfortunately, wasn't able to get homers in the last couple of games just because of playing the Boston Red Sox. But tonight, I do think he'll easily be able to get 2 hits because Kevin Gausman is on the mound. And if you look back to how he's played against him, Aaron Judge is 8-22 with 3 home runs and 6 RBIs in 28 plate appearances against Kevin Gausman in his career. On top of that, I just think the Boston Red Sox were really good at limiting a guy like Aaron Judge, and it wasn't really about his performance. So I do think that he's going against the Blue Jays. He will be able to get 2 hits, and it makes a lot of sense at this price. You're getting good value, so I'm going to have to go reaction on this one.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm going to go reaction here as well. Again, I'm from the tri-state area, or I should say, I'm actually from Miami, but I live in the tri-state area, kind of, sort of. Hoboken's the 6th borough. But nonetheless, so much pressure was on him, Aaron, here in New York to hit 61. And I think for him to get out of New York, go play somewhere else on the road, I think it'll be a lot less pressure. And you talked about Gausman and his record against him. Now, he's actually quite good against the Yankees. In 12.2 innings pitched against the Yankees, he's only given up 2 runs. However, in his repertoire, the pitch that he has the most that we've seen against the Yankees is the splitter. But as of late, his splitter is not splitting. So, and everything I read and I understand and know about baseball is it is one of the easiest balls to hit a home run against. So for that reason, I'm going reaction. So we're on the same side here. Number 2, we've seen the Miami Dolphins take the NFL by storm so far after 3 weeks of play. Will they be the last undefeated team? Keep in mind, Philly is the other one. Your beloved Eagles are 3-0 as well. The Giants 2-0 taking on the Cowboys tonight, but we kind of have a little peek behind the curtain and how you think that game is going to end. At reaction or no action, will the Miami Dolphins be the last undefeated team in the NFL?
No action. Come on, guys. You knew I was going to go no action on this with prefacing it with Miami. If it was Philly was going to be the last team, I would have said reaction on this one. But you just look at the competition. We know the Dolphins are going to face off against the Cincinnati Bengals on Thursday Night Football, and the Eagles are going to take on the Jags. I think it's much more likely that the Philadelphia Eagles are able to beat the Jags than it is for Tua and company to go on and beat the Cincinnati Bengals this Thursday. Now, a lot of people might not agree with that, considering they just beat the Bills. There are a lot of things that worked in their favor. I still think they were outplayed by the Bills in that game, and it was really the Bills' game to lose. Tua, he's been great. He's been sensational. It's been so fun to watch him and the Dolphins, and I will continue to do so. I just think there's a chance that they will lose the Cincinnati Bengals. So by process of elimination of these two teams right here and who they're playing in NFL Week 4, I can't believe we're already at NFL Week 4. That makes the most sense to me that the Eagles will be the last team undefeated.
Yeah, I'm still on the fence whether or not they're contenders or they're pretenders because they were getting manhandled by the Ravens until the Ravens lost their 2 starting corners heading into that 4th quarter, and then their backup, sorry, not sorry, can't cover 2 dudes who run 4.3 40s. So they totally blow open the 4th quarter and beat the Ravens. And then, listen, we talked about it all last week, and I was telling you, put your money down on the Dolphins. Why? I'm from Miami. You don't want to play football in Miami in September. You just don't. It's brutal. It was 100 degrees, 100% humidity. Guys were falling down all over the place. I'm worried about this Bills team actually coming into this week after everything that they had to deal with in Miami. But nonetheless, I'm with you. No action here. Still not sure if this Miami Dolphins team is a contender yet. Sorry, Dolphins fans. My mom probably doesn't want to hear that either, but nonetheless. Dallas wins the first half, but the Giants win the game. And you could get that at 6-1 tonight, Erin. Any play here?
No action here, and I've kind of already alluded to it. I do like the Cowboys to end up winning this game, but honestly, this is just not a prop bet that I would be interested in. Sometimes you like these results where you can kind of take someone in that first half, and then obviously there's an ending result for the game, but I'm not really buying it. I think if the Cowboys are going to be up in the first half, they'll end up winning the game. I also just feel like this game is 50-50. Look at the line. There's a reason why the spread is so tight. The money line is basically the same at this point. The total is low. This is going to be a slow, methodical, probably slugfest. And not because this is like, an Aaron Rodgers versus Tom Brady type situation like we saw last night. This is because neither team is really that good, and both offensive lines are pretty banged up to some extent. Or I should say the Giants aren't really banged up their O-line, but it's Daniel Jones. It's Daniel Jones. You think I'm really going to trust him in a primetime game where he's 0-8? No, I'm not. So for me, no action here.
Okay, I'm going no action, but not for the reasons that you are. I'm going no action because I think defensive coordinator Wink Martindale has a lot, not a little, a lot up his sleeve for Cooper Rush tonight. Granted, no Leo Williams, at least last I saw. I know we're a little early here. They do not expect Leo Williams to play, but he gets Ojulari back, and it is the debut of Thibodeau, first-round draft pick, defensive lineman for the Giants. So I think there's a lot that Wink is going to be able to scheme for, and I think they're going to come out of the box with it. So that's the only reason. I'm fading Dallas tonight. So no action here for me. But let's do this because we've got two of the best beat reporters out there covering both these teams. Of course, Jordan Ranaan with the Giants, Todd Archer with the Dallas Cowboys. Let's start with Todd. Let's get an update.
Thanks, Anita. A lot of injury news here for the Cowboys entering tonight's game against the Giants, but let's start with the good news. Micah Parsons, he's playing sick earlier in the week. Jerry Jones says it wasn't COVID, it wasn't the flu. He was able to get some practice work by the end of the week. The question for Parsons, is he a pass rusher, 4 sacks in the first 2 games, or is he a run stopper facing Saquon Barkley? On offense, let's look at Michael Gallup, inactive again tonight as he continues his return from ACL surgery. The bet is he plays next week against Washington. And then tight end Dalton Schultz, he'll test his sprained right knee in pregame warmups. If he can't go, then rookies Jake Ferguson and Peyton Hendershot will handle the tight end role with Sean McEwen coming up from the practice squad. Probably not the best news for Cooper Rush as he makes consecutive starts for the first time in his career. Rush is 2-0. If he gets to 3-0, only 2 Cowboys quarterbacks have done that in their career. Their names, Jason Garrett and Roger Staubach.
If there's one thing the Giants aren't worried about entering Monday's matchup with the Cowboys, it's running back Saquon Barkley. Even if he averaged 3.4 yards per carry against the Panthers. If you look deeper into that, 69 of his 72 rushing yards came in the second half. He had a 4.3 yards per carry average. Barkley's usage has also been elite so far this season. He's been on the field for 84.4% of the Giants' offensive plays. He's been their best offensive player by a wide margin. And if you look at this Cowboys defense, their strength is their pass rush. The Cowboys enter this week 30th in run stuff win rate. Now, this is by no means a great Giants team or a great Giants offense. They scored 40 points in the first 2 games combined. But if you ask Saquon Barkley, this is his redemption season. He said to me the other day after the game, he said, nobody thinks we're worth a damn. Now, this is the Giants' opportunity, and Barkley as well, to prove everyone wrong in front of a national audience.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. Really appreciate it. Erin, it's our time to break down the game, spreads, totals, over-under, prop bets. Let's get right to it. And this is a Giants team at home, favored by 1. The over-under is at 39. How are you playing it tonight?
Well, I'm not playing anything in terms of the total, and the spread is so short that I have to take one of these teams on the money line. And I'm going with the Dallas Cowboys because this does feel like a matchup in which quarterback is going to make the least amount of errors, which is why I look at the Dallas Cowboys and that defense. Right now, they've had 8 sacks so far this season, which ranks first in the league. For some comparisons, the Giants' defense has only had 3 sacks so far. Then you have Dallas's defense, which is allowing 4.6 yards per game, okay? Or I should say 4.6 yards allowed per game. That makes absolutely no sense. I think I'm talking in circles here because I've been on a million shows today. But nonetheless, they're just very good in terms of defending the run. On top of that, I doubt the Giants are going to win 3 straight games. The Giants are also one of the worst teams when playing at home. Keep that in mind. They've only won 13 of their last 40 games at home. For comparison, if you look at Dallas, they've won 24 at home in that same stretch. Philly 22, the Washington football team, actually Washington Commanders at this point, 14 out of the 40. So the Giants really haven't been good at home in the last 5 seasons. So all those things considered, I feel like I have to take the Dallas Cowboys on the money line in this one.
Okay, we are on opposite sides of the track here, Missy. I am going with the Giants, and I'm taking them on the money line. I'm also going to play the under here. Now, you and a number of people are sleeping on Daniel Jones. Get this, Erin. After 2 weeks, the first 2 weeks of the season, Daniel Jones is the most pressured quarterback in the NFL. I know that doesn't surprise anyone. But here's what is surprising. He is the most accurate quarterback in the NFL after 2 weeks, and he has an over 80% completion percentage after the first 2 weeks. That's incredible. Quarterbacks are happy if they're at 70, 72, 75%. And who's he throwing to? Richie James? Seriously? The guy's would be like a number 4 wide receiver on somebody else's roster. Kadarius Toney has not been healthy, and we have not seen Galladay get the time that you would imagine a team's paying $72 million for 6 years would get. So with all that being said, I do have trust in Daniel Jones. I like the stats that I've seen so far this season. And again, I'll just go back to what I said earlier with Wink Martindale, this defensive coordinator. I think he's got a lot up his sleeve tonight for Cooper Rush. The fact that he's getting both Thibodeau and Ojulari back on the defensive side of the ball. So again, I'm playing Giants on the money line, and also I like the under at 39. Now let's talk about some quarterback props that you are going to play tonight.
Well, Anita, I don't think you're going to like this one because you're obviously a fan of Daniel Jones, think he's going to play well, but I'm going to take him to have an interception tonight. 0-8 in primetime games. He's just not good. I'm sorry. Daniel Jones, just not a great quarterback. On top of that, he just, he's already had 1 interception so far this season through 2 games. This is just one of those primetime games in which it's going to be sloppy. I expect this to be sloppy. The Dallas Cowboys defense is actually pretty good. They'll be able to put a lot of pressure on him. And I just see Daniel Jones scrambling around at times. And when he's pressured, he's going to end up throwing an interception. Even if the Giants were to win the game, I still think that Daniel Jones is going to throw an interception. So that's my favorite prop bet in terms of quarterbacks.
Okay, so you're really going to love this because I think Cooper Rush is going to throw an interception, and I'm going to get that at minus 135.
Both could.
And wait, Erin, it gets even better. I've got Cooper Rush throwing more interceptions than Daniel Jones at plus 135.
That's
what do you
cool
think
bet.
about
I like
that,
that.
Erin Dolan?
I do like that.
Erin Dolan. Also, I'm going to go Daniel Jones over 26.5 rushing yards because he is going to be running for his life, especially if Micah Parsons is 100%. And he's averaging anywhere between 23 to 24 rushing yards a game. Okay, so there are quarterback props. What about the best of the rest? What are some of the other props you're looking at as we head into tonight's game?
I'm looking at Saquon Barkley to go under 76.5 rushing yards. He hasn't played well against Dallas, 0-6 in his career. In that 6-game stretch, he's only hit over this number just twice. And we talked about that Dallas defense, really good, should be able to limit him. And when you look back to the first 2 games of the season, he was able to hit over this number just once. But when you look at the competition in the Titans and the Panthers, there are 2 teams that are in the bottom 10 in terms of defending the run. So I do think, considering the Dallas Cowboys are a lot better at that, this is that he'll be able to go under. But regardless, this is a really probably popular prop, thinking, okay, well, Daniel Jones, if he's not good against, not good in terms of throwing the ball, they'll be able to run the ball. I just don't see that ending up being the game plan. And if they do that, maybe he'll have a lot of attempts. That prop's at 19.5, but really it's those rushing yards that I want to go under. And it's actually come down slightly throughout the day. So it's at 76.5 right now, and I would still go under for that on Saquon.
Well, I'm going to go Saquon Barkley over 106.5, both rushing and receiving combined. Why? He's playing 83% of the snaps. He's got a 20% target share. He's the second fastest ball carrier in the NFL in sprint speed. and he has the 10th most missed tackles after 2 weeks. And by the way, you can run against the Cowboys. Tony Pollard over receptions because he's playing 48% of the snaps, and he got 7 targets last week. In my opinion, I think he's better than Ezekiel Elliott. And last but not least, I'm wearing my Kenny Golladay t-shirt for a reason. This is a Giants team that is paying this dude $72 million. He came out, he spoke to the media last week, and he's like, I don't know why I'm not playing. I don't know why coach only put me in 2 snaps. I'm sorry, you're paying a dude $72 million? I just have a sneaky suspicion tonight, squeaky wheel gets the grease here, Erin. I just do. So, Golladay props have not hit yet, so there's no like over receptions, over yards, but you can bet that he's going to have the most receiving yards at 25-1. Why not? 25-1. And I do like him to possibly score a touchdown and the Giants win, which would be great at plus 750. But keep an eye as we get closer to the game. If Golladay prop bets do come out, I would take the over. I just have a sneaky suspicion. It's time for Paydirt Picks. And Erin, let's recap. Let's go back and see what you did last week. Of course, Tennessee Titans, you said Derrick Henry's going to score a touchdown. Sure enough, he did. You won that. Justin Jefferson did not. You lost that. A.J. Brown did not as well. So you're sitting at a little over $111. And oh, by the way, 12 cents. Stephon Diggs did find the end zone. McKenzie did not. Shakir did not. Jalen Hurts did, which is great. That was a great payout for me. $5. I won $11.40. And Gainwell did not as well. So I'm sitting with a little over $90. So heading into tonight's game, unfortunately, we only have 1 Monday Night Football game as opposed to 2 that we had last week. Where is your money flowing for who's going to score touchdowns?
I'm going to put $10 on Sterling Shepard. And honestly, this is really tough to try to figure out who's going to end up scoring a touchdown in this game, to be honest. That total is really low, so I feel like we might see some random people tonight. Now, it's no surprise that the wide receivers have had some inconsistencies for the Giants, but I just think that, he has been relatively consistent. Yes, he's coming off that injury from last season. He had 1 touchdown so far this season. That was against the Tennessee Titans. I just think, Daniel Jones, maybe he will be able to throw the ball somewhat and, find a guy. Look, these are tough to hit. Anytime touchdown scores is not the easiest thing. So I'll put $10 on it just because I'm up right now, but only 1 for me. I'm sure, Anita, I feel like you probably have 3. It wouldn't even surprise me if you had 3.
Well, yes. Our producer, Weimer, gave me a limit, and I screwed up, and I went over the limit, and then I got the phone call today, and I got reprimanded. It's okay. I still love her. It was my mistake anyway, so I'm at fault here. So, yes, I do have 3. So, Saquon Barkley to score a touchdown, a little bit too much juice for my liking.
Agreed.
The dude's going to find the end zone. If you can find it, it's minus 160 at Caesars. If you can find it with a better odds, then by all means, please seek it out. Pollard to score a touchdown at plus 165. Again, Erin, I think he's the better running back. With all due respect to Ezekiel Elliott, I just love Tony Pollard. Utilized in the rushing game as well as the passing game. I think he finds the end zone tonight. And I'm sticking with my Kenny Golladay, man. Plus 550 to score a touchdown. I'm telling you, I just got a sneaky suspicion here that he's going to be utilized, especially when they get into the red zone.
Yeah,
if I'm the owner of the Giants and I'm paying him $72 million, I'm calling Brian Dable and going, get this guy in the game.
Yeah, and especially with the juice that you had talked about with Saquon Barkley being minus 160, typically you don't see it that high, so I'm a little surprised by that, only because he only had 1 touchdown so far this season. I still think he could easily get one because who else are they handing the ball off to for the Giants to punch it in? Makes a lot of sense, but you talk about that juice. Obviously, since we're doing Paydirt Picks, we're able to kind of pick those ones, but I mean, in terms of actually betting that nonstop or putting like $100 on it, it's probably not worth it for this game, but I do think he'll end up probably getting one.
It's really interesting. I do want to talk about Micah Parsons for a second because in 2 games last year, the 2 games that Micah Parsons played against the Giants last year, 0 sacks, 9 quarterback hits. But here's the thing, Erin, they utilized Micah Parsons as a middle linebacker last season. This year, I feel that they found the secret sauce with him. If you recall, a few weeks ago, prior to the season starting, we were on Daily Wager and we were talking some of the futures bets that we liked. And I said, I really like Micah Parsons to win Defensive Player of the Year. and this is a big reason why. He's not playing middle linebacker anymore. They've got him as an outside linebacker. They've got his hand in the dirt. They've got his ears pinned back, and they got him coming after quarterbacks. And sure enough, I think, that's really been the buzz for him. So, not to take anything away from Micah Parsons, he's really a phenomenal athlete. But I just not playing middle linebacker and more playing edge rusher and outside linebacker, I think really has been the biggest difference maker for him in this Dallas Cowboys defense.
Yeah, and he's been great. I mean, I feel like I keep betting on its prop. I would find it on DK to have over a sack, or be like it'd be 0.75. So some people might get a little bit confused about that. So I didn't want to go on SportsCenter and talk about that and try to explain how all the math adds up for that one. But he really has been great. I know he has the flu right now, so he wasn't at some of the practices this week, so it'll be interesting to see how he looks. I haven't seen any props come up in terms of Micah Parsons when you look under the defensive tabs. But again, he's expected to play in this game, so he's had such a tremendous impact so far. Again, he's been great in betting to at least record one sack. I wonder if those lines actually will end up coming up a little bit if he's able to sustain that, and if he's able to get to Daniel Jones in this one. Come next week, we'll see where they set the line at. But he is obviously such a huge part of that Dallas Cowboys defense. So hopefully, again, coming off the flu, I can't imagine playing an NFL game coming off the flu, because I've had it before. Not a fun time, but maybe he can rough it out.
We'll see. I want to say for Micah Parsons to get a sack, I think it's like plus 175.
Oh, were you able to find it?
So it could be an interesting bet.
I couldn't find it.
Yes. Before we sign off, I do want to go back and talk some baseball with you and talk about Aaron Judge, because again, I think tonight's going to be a big night. Again, when we kicked off the show, we were talking about over-under. Do we feel that he can get more than one hit tonight? Okay, but really at the end of the day, it's about hitting home run number 61.
Yeah.
And also beyond that, it's competing to try to win the Triple Crown, right? And we know home runs, he has it. RBIs, he has it. What it comes down to is the batting average. And you got Bogarts who's on his coattails. And we don't know whether or not the Yankees and Aaron Boone, if they're going to decide, once he does hit 61, then are they going to give Aaron Judge an opportunity to maybe take some days off? Because now the next big hurdle is, of course, winning a World Series. So I want to throw this back your way, Erin. Do you think he hits 61 tonight, first and foremost? And what do you think his odds are? What do you think his chances are of winning the Triple Crown in the American League?
Yeah, I think he could hit a homer tonight. I feel like any time you have a few games which Aaron Judge doesn't, you just start backing him, because eventually he's going to hit another one. Kevin Gausman on the mound, so he should be able to get one off. And then in terms of winning that Triple Crown, it's going to be really hard. It's not an easy thing to win. That batting average is what's going to end up probably being the issue. But again, we got about 10 more games. He can try to figure it out in that regard. But I kind of like him to hit a homer tonight. I don't think that's a bad pick whatsoever.
Yeah, and again, just being here in the New York area, hosting Sports Talk Radio here in New York, it needs to happen, because it's just ever since he got to 60, it's all about him hitting the home run and not enough about this Yankees team trying to make a good play to win the World Series. So we'll see what happens. We're moving from the diamond to the ice, and we've got Puck Daddy, that's right, Greg Wyshynski, who's joining us here on Bet. So welcome in, Puck Daddy. We're less than 2 weeks away from the NHL season starting. And of course, no surprise, the Avalanche, they are favored to win the Stanley Cup again. But Erin and I, we're not really big on playing favorites. Let's take a look at some of the other teams out there, of course, and their odds of winning the Stanley Cup. And I just want to curious, we're looking at the Lightning 10-1, Hurricanes 10. Where are my Rangers? They couldn't fit on the graphic from what I was told. But nonetheless, taking a look at these odds, give us your favorite pick or a sleeper pick that you think has a really good shot of winning the Stanley Cup this season.
Well, they might have to go through Colorado to get there, but I like the Edmonton Oilers at 13-1. Jay Woodcroft, who took over the team last year, I thought did a really good job fixing up their defense, getting them to shoot the puck more. Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl. Sometimes you just need two superstars to be able to carry a team to the promised land. They improved their goaltending. They're very, very deep and forward. It might be the time to get Connor his ring. 13-1 on the Oilers is an interesting prospect for me.
And a team not on the list is the New York Rangers, who got hot at the right time behind their goaltender, Igor Shesterkin. But too many 7-game series kind of took their toll there, and they lost in the conference finals. They're currently 15-1. Is that a bet you'd be looking to make?
I'm intrigued by it. I think the East is a tough road for the Rangers, but they are getting to that point where you have to start considering them a serious cup contender. Their younger players like Alexis Lafreniere and Keandre Miller are only going to get better. They added Vincent Trocheck to shore up the center position, and as we saw, Igor Shesterkin can win any series on his own. So I would definitely consider giving the Rangers a little bit of a sprinkle there, although it's going to be tough sledding with teams like Tampa Bay and Carolina in the same conference.
So not to be a negative Nelly or anything, but in gambling, as we all know, when teams fail, you can still profit. So with that being said, let's take a look at some of the odds of some of the teams out there that are going to score the least amount of goals this season. And who stands out to you, Greg?
Well, the Arizona Coyotes are going to be a very special kind of terrible this year. I mean, they basically stripped their roster down to the skate laces, chasing a kid by the name of Connor Bedard, who's going to be the next phenom drafted next season. I think the Coyotes are going to be epically bad. I would run them for under on the point total, under on goals, under on everything. My only caveat is they are playing their home games in a 5,000-seat arena on the campus of Arizona State University. There may be some kind of like bad news bears underdog thing eventually with the Coyotes, but I think overall, based on their roster, they're going to be pretty terrible.
And Puck Daddy, before we let you go, we have to talk about Canada, where hockey was birthed. They haven't lifted a cup since 1993. So there's this fun prop bet that's out there, USA versus Canada. USA is minus 600 and Canada is plus 425. Do you have any interest in this prop bet that Canada could potentially get it done next season?
First of all, as an American, it's been an amazing 29-year run, okay? I got no complaints about Canada not winning the Cup. That said, you know, with the Calgary Flames, the Edmonton Oilers, if the Toronto Maple Leafs can win their first-round playoff series since 2003 and get on a roll, there are some interesting options on the Canadian side, but overall, I think you go with the chalk. USA to win the Cup again.
Greg, thank you so much for joining Erin and I. We really do appreciate it.
Anytime. Thanks for having me.
You got it. Can't believe, Erin, less than 2 weeks away and hockey starts again. It's unbelievable.
There's so many
Before
things.
we end, I know. So before we end the show, I just, you know, I don't toot my horn often, but every now and then I like to. So last week we had 9 home dogs, right? 9 home dogs on the slate in the NFL. And I know a lot of people feel that teasers bets are suckers bets, and that's fine. I like to play them. So what I did is I took my 4 favorite home dogs and I teased them up 6 points. Wouldn't you know it? And I want to say, I'm trying to remember what, maybe, I'm trying to think, was it plus 240, plus 260, something like that? I think
they
the bet
all
came
won
in
outright.
Oh, there it is. There it is. Right, it's right in front of me. Plus 260. But so I had Indianapolis, plus 11.5, Miami, Carolina, Arizona. They all hit.
Love
I
that for
won.
you, Anita.
So,
That's great.
you know, here's my point. There's so much parity this year. I feel there's so much parity this year in the NFL. This might be something that I'm going to do each and every week. Find like a few home dogs that I like.
Anita's teaser.
And tease those bad boys up. There you go. There you go. Erin, so great doing the show with you each and every Monday. I know we're on the opposite side. Watch out for Daniel Jones, baby. Watch out. Cooper Rush, more interceptions than Daniel Jones tonight. Enjoy the game, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to Bet.